Hey, Florida fan. I'm sorry, big guy. I mean, I was told in my last recaps and playoff previews that I wasn't watching enough Florida and I didn't understand what was going on with them. And I was really giving them not enough credit. So either I jinxed you or I was totally correct. I know it's only one game, but I wanted to take a victory lap. I'm cheering for Florida, by the way. The Capitals played a near perfect game. I mean, that was a clinic, absolute clinic by a veteran Washington Capitals team at this point. We said the key to the playoffs for the Capitals is going to be Ovechkin. I know that's a cop-out, but the game goes the way Ovechkin's going to go, and I really thought the Capitals set the tone in tonight's game. Unlike the Leafs-Bolt series, where the Maple Leafs came out as the young, up-and-coming team, which is what Florida is to this series, by the way, the Leafs came out with a bit of a swagger, saying we're not going to worry about the pressure or, what's on our back. And Florida has a lot of pressure on themselves, too. They haven't won a first round in a long time. They want credit. They're a President's Trophy winner. Expectations are high. I feel Florida came out gripping the stick a little too tight. I know it's a weird analogy, but it is. They were just nervous. They didn't play their game. That wasn't the Florida Panthers that we knew. And Washington played a perfect game in terms of being veterans, being calm, act like you've been there before, didn't let anything get under their skin, and they played playoff hockey. So to me, that is the high level story of this game. So we're going to get in. We'll break down all the goals and everything. But first, let me tell you about our sponsor, which is BetUS. Head over to BetUS, Florida Caps fans. 125% deposit bonus for first time players, meaning, hey, if you've never tried it before, head on over. That is one heck of a bonus. Use code HGS or the link down below. So we all know Florida is an incredible team at scoring, but here's the deal with scoring, guys. Scoring comes when you're feeling confident, when you're feeling fluid, and when you can attack. And Florida's an interesting team because at the end of the day, they're not a very good special teams. They have a number 7 ranked power play in the NHL, maybe number 5. It's 7 or 5. It's one of those two. It's high enough, but it's not as high as the number 1 scoring team in the NHL should be. It's one of those weird little sideways dog head tilts. Like, really, you're not number 1. They're number 1 in every other category of scoring 5-on-5, but their power play lacks. Their penalty kill is not great either, and I'm going to walk you into that. I've been saying this for quite some time. The only thing that didn't really happen in this game was that I said, how's Bobrovsky going to do? Like, he's been pretty shaky in April, and Bobrovsky had an excellent game. So did Vanecek. Great job by both goalies in this game. The other interesting thing to note about this game is that we said that Washington's the bigger, heavier team, and they are, and that Florida's the lighter, more passive team, and they are. But Florida threw a lot of hits today, like a massive amount, 56 to be exact. They had 52 with 10 minutes left in the game. They dialed it back when they needed to score. Now, hitting is good in the playoffs, but not when you're a team like the Panthers, because when you're throwing bod, it means you don't have the puck. So if you're going to throw 60 hits, that's kind of an indication at times, depending on the way the team plays, that maybe the team didn't have the puck possession they needed. And Florida is a puck possession team. So you actually don't, in my opinion, as much as I love playoff hockey and I love the checking, you don't want to be seeing a ton of hits from Florida. You want to be seeing in the 30s, 40s. But when you get up to 56, that really signals that they didn't spend a lot of time with the puck. And I think we can validate that or feel like that's present because Washington outshot them 38-32, but most of those shots from Florida actually ended up coming in the third. It's very interesting that a team number 1 in scoring and number 1 on generating shots, which is Florida, basically gets outshot by a team that's about 16th to 15th in the NHL. And that to me is what leads me to the conclusion that this just wasn't the Florida Panthers team that we're used to. The big question for the Florida fan out there is your team going to settle down in time? And does your locker room have the confidence and leadership with the coaching staff and everybody that's in it to settle down and just play the game that you have to play? Because Washington played Washington's game tonight and it worked out quite well. And that's what happens in the NHL when teams are always this close. I said going into this, and Caps fans, don't let me forget it. You let me know down below in the comments. I said, I don't think Washington's really got a chance in the East. They're the only team I wasn't really attracted to in the playoffs. But you have to admit, and I will admit, that there's really no bad teams when it comes to the playoffs, especially a veteran team like this. So even though they don't have a whole bunch of underlying things going for them, experience and being a veteran in the playoffs counts for a lot. And Washington really showed it tonight. It'll be really interesting to see if Washington can keep control of the series and play this game, or if Florida will eventually turn it up. Because if Florida plays their game and move the puck the way they want to move it, Florida's going to take over. I mean, other signs you can look at for this game. None of the passes for Florida felt crisp. 5-on-5 5-on-5, Florida felt great, but every time they got a power play, and power play is so important, it just lacked. It felt so blah. Like, it was almost like, you know what? We don't want the power play. Let's just play 5-on-5 because we're doing better 5-on-5. The best team in the NHL 5-on-5 is the Panthers. So not having that power play kick in, I really think that ended up kicking them in the butt. It was awesome that they were able to go up 2-1 for their fan and for the team as a whole, but Washington just no panic in themselves, and they answer back with 3 unanswered and end up taking this game 4-2. Look, one was an empty net, so we could really say 3-2. Like, it is what it is, but it was quite an impressive effort from a Capitals team. Bobrovsky stands on his head. Vanecek stands on his head. Ovi leads the way for the Capitals. Wilson, absolute X factor for the Capitals. Totally dominant player. Kuznetsov looks good. Love the bird, Selly. Capitals looked like a good team. Florida, I'm not panicked quite yet, and I don't think Florida fans should be. You could be disappointed in this. We did call Florida in 6. It's the next game that's really going to set the tone. So Washington has all the momentum now. The question will be, can Florida flip? Now let's go ahead and check out some goals, shall we? First goal over here by the Caps by Tom Wilson. We want to take a look at Huberdeau, who's in the middle of the ice. I've been saying this all year that he's an elite, absolute franchise winger, but defensively, sometimes he's a bit of a liability. The stats say it. They back it up. My eye test says it. So the Florida fan doesn't really love when I say that because it's your favorite player, likely. Maybe Barkov, maybe Ekblad. Team is stacked, so pick your guy. But he really just... he kind of causes this one on the kill. I personally wouldn't have him out on the kill. You can see here, Washington goes ahead right there, and they're doing what's called a widening the zone. That's a D-to-D pass. You're widening the zone. Huberdeau is right in the middle there. That shot ends up going in, and Bobrovsky makes a beautiful, beautiful save. What Huberdeau needs to do here is Huberdeau needs to push after this puck and get into the middle of the ice and start log jamming and looking to tie up players here. That's what you want to do on the kill. Unfortunately, that's not what we see as we fast forward here. You could see in that quick step, it's a glide. This isn't the skating stride of a guy taking strides. This is a skating stride of a scorer who's just, you're holding position, but when you want to be a killer, you got to be a killer in terms of you need that extra step. It's always that extra step. We talk about speed on the penalty kill. Speed always kills. The term killer, penalty kill, it all matches. You need those guys who are going to throw life, limb, and body at the puck and have desperation plays to keep their feet moving. Sometimes goal scorers just don't have that. It's an organic thing. Some goal scorers go fast, some go slow. I don't love Huberdeau in this spot. And to me, yes, it's a power play. Yes, Tom Wilson scores. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, but I didn't like the effort from Huberdeau there. And I think that bleeds through kind of this entire game. So he'll get his game back, not panicked about it. I mean, he's a 110-point man, maybe more. So it wasn't a good look. Speaking of good looks, though, Sam Bennett on the first goal for Florida. This is a good look by Bennett. This is a defensive-minded forward, and good defense leads to good offense. You'll see Bennett right here at the bottom of your screen, and as we go forward, this is what we call puck support when we're talking about it. Centermen need to be able to support this. So he goes in, it's a 2-on-2, and he has good D-side positioning here. He's between the net, he's between the man, he sees that it's a scrum, and as the puck ends up getting up, you'll see he's able to get up ice, and good defensive positioning leads to this. He didn't do anything to turn the puck over, but when you're in the right position and the puck takes the right bounce, defensively, you can become offensively so quickly. So many players forget about this in the NHL, and it's unbelievable to think that Calgary let this guy go because of both sides of play for his ice. Like offensively, defensively, he was not great for the Flames, but he's really found something special in Florida. Now he's able to accelerate down the rink this way, and I mean, it's beautiful, but what we're going to end up seeing shortly is we see Nick Jensen just back in way too far. Orlov as well too. When we're looking at a play like this, the fact that Jensen's already at the blue line, this is bad. Plus the fact that he's crossing over already, this is bad. You actually don't want to be crossing your feet at this point. You want to be doing C cuts, and you want to be about 3 or 4 feet higher. I understand Giroux, and Giroux has done a wonderful job by pushing up to the blue line here. That pushes Jensen back, but that's why you have a partner in Orlov. This is just a 2-on-2 right now. This is not a 3-on-2 at this point. Worst case scenario, it's a 3-on-3 with the back checker. And when you're even Steven like this, it's not odd man. The defensemen need to step up sooner. They just don't do a good job of it. So as you see a couple more strides go in, take a look at how far back Jensen is. This is already way too far back, and that's all thanks to Giroux. You see there on your right side. by moving up to the blue line. And now Bennett has basically free reign. That is so many steps to be able to step in. And all you're doing now is you're causing a screen for your goalie. We call this being a post turtle. You're useless. How did the turtle get on the post? We don't know. What is he going to do on the post? Nothing. That is what Orlov and Jensen are doing right now. And when you see sticks reaching in like this at this point, that's not a good look either, because all you're doing is creating a ramp for your goalie. This is not an ideal way to block a shot. You've caused a screen. You've backed in too far. It is just yuck. Vanecek can actually see the puck quite well, but this is just a pure snipe. Absolute pure snipe there by Bennett. Great goal by Florida. Pure goal score. Good defense. Leads to good offense. Don't back in so far there, Jensen. Now, if you've been on this channel for any period of time, you'll know I love face-off theory. Face-offs are fantastic. I don't love these types of draws. Now, it works for Florida. They end up scoring, but the reason I don't like these types of draws is where you're standing right now here as a winger, you can have a defenseman in there. Like, I'm not sure what Montour, like, I get NHL coaches like this setup, but I'm not sure what he's supposed to do. The draw is very simple. You're trying to win it back, and then you're trying to extend the zone. That's the easy thing. But you could extend the zone regardless. I mean, if Montour just lined up a little bit further back, you can always back up pretty quickly. So I'm not a huge fan of this lineup by the Panthers. And the reason for it is the man over here. I don't like uncontested walls. What you can see here is Kuznetsov is a lefty. Now he has his hand already turned backwards, meaning he's looking to win the draw back here. The easy thing for the draw here for the Capitals, they win the draw back there, carry it around, you break out of your zone. Very standard. We've all seen this a million times. But to me, you got to be able to identify that if you have an uncontested wall, you're a left-handed shot, just slap the puck left. That is your strongest play on this draw. Flip your hand around and just slap it left. It's like taking a shot. I don't understand why every centerman in the NHL doesn't just do it this way. It is too easy. You have a huge advantage being on your forehand here, competing against a centerman like Giroux who's on his backhand and nobody on a contested wall. You should easily be able to slap this left, tie up Giroux, and move on. If you lose the draw as well, you also need to tie up Giroux. Kuznetsov doesn't do it either. So let's go ahead. Let's run the playthrough. But basically what I'm saying is everything Washington here does is wrong. This could have been easily exploited, and everything Florida does here exploits Washington's miss that really is just Kuznetsov. So you see right here as we go forward, both are looking to win this draw on their backhand. You can see it the way they're lined up. That draw goes, and right away, it's a 50-50 draw. They end up winning it with Florida, but both sticks get on it and it's popping backwards. Now, Kuznetsov needs to tie up Giroux off this draw, but what you'll see right away is that not only does he let Giroux go, like he just lets him go, he's worried about going to the point. Why are you worried about going to the point if you're Kuznetsov? That's not your job. That's your winger's job. Your job is to stick with this man the entire way. The widening of the zone clearly works there. And now you can see, we pause it right away. Look, Giroux is already lost. And remember, we had a defenseman over here for Washington. So because you didn't utilize it and slap it over to your defenseman, now you're in a really weird spot because Giroux has basically gotten away from a center that's supposed to tie him up. We have a defenseman completely out of position at this point, and this is how the goal is caused. Beautiful puck pop out here. Vanecek makes a very difficult save on a widened zone, and Giroux puts it home with some really nifty footwork. Look, team, face-off theory is a huge part of hockey. The draw means so much, especially in your defensive zone. So it is just very strange to me to see a playoff team and a guy with the experience like Kuznetsov make those types of mistakes, Washington make those types of mistakes. That's something that's just coached repeatedly and repeatedly. And it just kind of feels like a whole version of errors, and Florida does a beautiful job exploiting it. That is the veteran presence of a guy like Claude Giroux at that point. It's almost like a free gift. Now it's time to pick on Mackenzie Weegar a little bit. I love the 7th round pick, one of my favorite players in the NHL. As he's coming up the ice, this is a standard breakout. You see you have two forwards curling to the left, you have an outlet to your right, and Weegar is a right-handed shot. All you need to do is take the maximum amount of space before you get checked and dish it off to your left or to your right, ideally to your left because it's on your forehand. So we'll see he takes a couple strides. Weegar is doing the right thing. You tell defensemen to do this. Ovechkin's in the middle of your screen, just above my head here, but you should be thinking about bumping this left to your player at this point in time. 1 or 2 more strides maximum, but he takes another 2 strides and he stick handles. I'm not sure why he's stick handling here. We tell people to push the puck at this point in time. There must have been a puck fumble or something going on here, because this just, again, goes back to you're squeezing the stick too tight. Ovechkin's able to stay in the middle of the ice, and as Ovechkin's going to step up and play, he's done the right play. You just got to bump it out left or right. He doesn't do it, and he ends up getting caught. That little stick handle gets him caught. Ovechkin's able to hit the puck first, and when I saw this in real time right here, I felt like this was a penalty. But then when I slowed it down and realized that Ovechkin got puck well before he ever got the man, this no longer becomes a penalty because you were able to play puck first and both men go out at the same time. This is actually a good defensive play. So no penalty called on this one, which is the right call. And then you're going to end up seeing Washington exploit it, turn it over, and Kuznetsov doesn't miss. He is actually able to get in on the breakaway there and tie the game. So the simple takeaway there for the defense is that that little extra move that Weegar makes, I don't know if the puck moves or he just didn't trust his hands, whatever it was, that's not a normal play by a defenseman that good. Like it's just a brain fart, if you will, but he just needs to bump that out left to his partner. And I don't think there's a penalty on that play. I mean, I think that's just Ovechkin being Ovechkin. So great job by the great 8. This team goes as far as the 8 wants to go. And that was just a really veteran defensive play by him. And it's a really nice finish by Kuznetsov. The dagger goal to take the lead here by TJ Oshie. It's Florida pushing too hard. Montour ends up getting caught here. The puck's below your screen here, and they end up sending it wide. Nothing wrong with that. But look on the far right of your screen next to that referee. Montour is going to step up, and he's going to keep stepping up. So he ends up gapping up to this point here. But unfortunately, because he gaps up at this point, it's too far up the ice. You got to realize when the puck is in dispute down here, you want to step up as a defenseman if you know your team's going to get the puck. But when it's a 50-50 puck like that, you've got to know to stay back. He doesn't, and TJ Oshie here is off to the races on that 2-on-1. As you can see right there, that is a really quick board pass right up the wall. And now you end up in an interesting spot. Claude Giroux is in a 2-on-2 here at this point. But Oshie, I mean, similar age players, been in the league almost the exact same amount of time. It's like Giroux is skating in sand here. Like, poor guy, like terrible strides. Oshie's barely even striding at this point. He's a million miles ahead of Giroux. It's not like Giroux didn't have the opportunity to skate and catch up with him. You can see Montour there, the defenseman. He's now on the back check. That's not where you want to be. Quick little pass over there to Oshie. Boom, it's in the back of the net. So Washington exploits on the transition. Washington is able to exploit the defensive woes of Florida, which is unique because Florida's defense pretty good normally. Little mistake by Montour, a little mistake by Mackenzie Weegar, but that's all it takes is 2 simple mistakes like that. So when I'm going down rosters and guys are talking to me in the last video going, hey man, you were pretty critical of my favorite player. You got to be critical because it's the little things that end up winning the game from the coach's perspective and the player's perspective there. Tighten up a couple little things, it will all be fine. So it all comes back to the fact that Washington played an excellent, calm, relaxed game. They played their game, and Florida just didn't. That wasn't good transition. That wasn't the Florida Panthers shot profile. That wasn't the Florida Panthers defensive profile. The best part about the game is what Bobrovsky was able to do. For the Capitals, the best part about the game was in everything. Team game. Perfect team game by the Capitals on that. And if they keep this up, maybe Florida ends up going home in 1, but I still think Florida has the series. However, we'll see you for game 2.